Benjamin. Okay, so let me go through this with you. The whole harness basically has been reconfigured because this was a SC400 and they're pretty messy harnesses in my opinion. Well, they're pretty complicated. It was really weird what they actually did on the SCs, but they actually really come out nice once they've all been cleaned up and done. Let me go through this. You got this cable. This is an addition that we put in. Okay, so this runs down and it plugs into your oil pressure switch. Now yours is as far as I can remember, a 90 9090 or 9091. Yours probably had a pressure switch that has a flat terminal on there. I would suggest you change that. We've put on the newer connector. Toyota actually changed that. It used to have like a rubber grommet on here. Used to get oil in there and whatnot, so they upgraded those, I think from 93 upwards all the way until today with these connectors where it's got a proper seal in it. Okay, it just keeps it clean and much better. So you could buy these pressure switches on Amazon or eBay or whatever. They're not expensive, they're like $5. So I would honestly suggest changing that. Okay, coming up here you have your 4-pin, your 6-pin, and all of your injector connectors have been replaced. Okay, your whole harness has been wrapped with a cloth tape. Okay, coming around the back here you have a earth strap on the back of each cylinder. So you got one over here and you've got another one over here. Just make sure that you have both of those tightened up. Okay, otherwise it's going to give you all kinds of troubles because the system relies on those two earths. Those are the two main earths that supply the system. Coming down here you have your left hand O2 sensor. Okay, that is required for the management to get the fuel air ratios correct. Okay, I've put in a jumper cable here. I've got a 3-pin on my test engine. You've got the big SC connector. So in here you've got your starter solenoid. That's why I've got this, just to be able to test run. Everything else has been removed except for another 3 terminals which supply your, well actually another 2 terminals which supply your knock sensors. Okay, so very important that is plugged in. Okay, those are the only wires that's needed in that connector. Okay, you'll see you used to have a whole black plastic housing that came around here and it ran to the front with all the main power supplies. All of that's been discontinued. Okay, so it's basically been neatened up. You've got very little hanging off the system. Coming down here, this is for your automatic. So you've got your front speed sensor, you've got your connectors for your solenoid bank, you've got your output speed sensor, you've got a connector on the back here for your, this is for your vehicle speed, okay, for your cluster electronics. I'm not sure, can't remember what vehicle you're busy building it into, but yeah, that'll give you a vehicle speed signal. Okay, if that's out of calibration, there are calibration devices that you can buy online. This red wire coming out of the back of the harness, that goes directly to your battery. That's its main power supply for the management system. Okay, down here again you've got another branch coming off. The other plastic housing has been removed. This is another branch coming down. You've got your earth strap, and then you've got another one that goes down and it plugs into your right bank O2 sensor. Okay, exactly the same thing on this side. You've got all of your injector connectors, all of those have been replaced. You used to have a section that ran underneath your intake manifold. We generally take that out because it's messy. So on the newer ones, even if you look at like a 97, you basically they got rid of all of that, and yeah, it runs down this side, it runs down the right hand side bank. Okay, and it plugs into your idle control valve. Okay, so you got a new idle control valve, 6-pin connector on there. You've got your water temp sensor connector, that's a single probe. You have another one, 2-pin down here, that is for your EFI water temp sensor. Okay, very important. If it's not plugged in, the system will think that it's running at minus 40 degrees and she will not start. Well, she'll overfuel dramatically. And then you've got a new connector for your coil. Okay. This is another add-on that we put in. Okay, so that runs down and basically plugs into your alternator. This again is another upgrade that Toyota did. So they went from a round connector, and you probably have that. I'm not sure what your plan is with your alternator. If you're going to upgrade the alternator, generally probably a good idea too. If you do, don't get a alternator from a 91, okay? Order one with the oval connector, okay? You'll see that's what the new connector looks like. It's exactly the same alternator, it's just got an upgraded connector, okay? So you can get anything from a 1UZ, from any of the models basically. Ask them for like a 90, like a 96 or something like that. Okay, so this is now your main harness coming out of the motor. We've bridged it out here. This usually came out of the right hand side, so now it goes out of the, well, it usually comes out of the left hand side, now it comes out of the right hand side. So your two ignition modules or igniters, okay, make sure that the housing of these are earthed. It relies on the housing, the actual body housing for the earth. Okay, if you don't get that, it will not run. It'll give you a code 14 or a code 15, well, probably both, and she'll start and die. So that's it's a pretty, it's usually a ground problem that gives those codes. Okay, and then you've got a fork coming out of here, and that goes to your airflow meter. This connector we do not stock. I see that the tab is gone. You shouldn't have a problem with it though. They generally don't really fall off, but we don't stock this connector. They're pretty difficult to find, and when you do find them, the minimum order quantity is way too high. So I don't know if you're gonna have any luck on Amazon. I've never found them. This is for your TPS, okay, so that'll plug into your throttle body once I've got that on. I just left all of this off so that we can go through this and go, so that you can see what's going on. Right, after that bridge, you have your grommet that goes through to your firewall, or through your firewall, and then it goes down to your ECU, okay. This is the connector now that you'll wire into your car. So it's very, very, very simple. Basically, you'll have a pinout anyway in your folder, okay, but it's the red one's your fuel, so it's fuel, ignition, start. You've got your rev counter, you've got your temperature gauge, oil light, charge light. So that's everything that you need in the top row. Everything in the bottom row is to do with your transmission, okay. So these are your lights for your dashboard, for your park, your reverse, your neutral, your drive, your overdrive, your 2 and your L, okay. These are for your power switch. A lot of guys don't bother putting that in, but it's there for you, okay. And then you've got your AC and ACMG. That's for idle up when you switch on your air conditioner. There's other ways of going about that. I would recommend not using ACMG and AC. I just wouldn't bother with those. There's other ways of getting idle up, and a lot of people find that they don't actually have a problem anyway, because it is a V8 and it doesn't really bog down the motor. Okay, so here is your fuse box. Inside your fuse box you'll find all your relays and your fuses. So everything's been individually relayed. So you've got two main EFI relays. Well, you've got your main relay, then you've got your EFI relay. You've got two relays to control your fuel pump. So we've built in low oil pressure protection. So if you ever run low on your oil or you lose oil pressure, what it'll do is it'll switch off your pump and it'll hopefully save your engine. Okay, that one, there's your starter motor relay, and then here you've got 6 slots. You've only got 5 because this is a non-VVT, but you've got everything's been individually fused, right? You'll see over there is a LED, and there's 2 open terminals. Those are for your OBD1. So if you put a bridge in those 2, you're going to find that LED will flash codes. So it's OBD1 flash codes All of that information is in your welcome pack, okay, and it'll tell you whatever's wrong on the system. But if you end up with a problem there, you just give me a shout anyway, okay? And underneath your fuse box lid, everything is marked there for you, okay? So yeah, let me get this intake manifold on, or not the manifold, but the throttle body and air pipe and airflow meter and whatnot, and then I will send you a video of her running. She runs good.